Psionic versus wuxiaoqi2216? I don't know what that name is. Wuxiaoqi? With a bunch of numbers. Okay, so it's Psionic is the French versus wuxiaoqi, I think it is the Indians. Interesting. So we got an India versus France. Very, very fascinating. From my understanding, at least from what I recall, I believe India does better in this matchup. I could be wrong about, but maybe that's my bias as a pro-India player in ranked. I think India is looking quite good here. Yeah. Basically, in this matchup, what you need to do is India get that aggro forward into a good spot and try to keep up with the French. You know, essentially get a good stack of troops to keep up with the French H3 shipments. Honestly, yeah. French right out of the gate, they always get a trading post right away because the French are very card oriented, like a lot of other civs we've seen in the tournament tonight. And essentially what French love to go for if they can, fast fortress into falconet, skirmisher, cuirassier, dragoon. That's what they like. If they can't do that, then they fall back on muskets in H2, and maybe a little crossbow, maybe a little hussar, and that's what they do. So we'll find out what the verdict is here. So this treasure, this is just an animal, it's nothing serious. Still gonna go for it anyways. France will try to contest it because that's what you want to do, is try to steal people's treasures in this game. It's not nice, but that's how you win the game. Stealing their treasures. Alright, so they do get the coyote. It's going to try to snare him with the native scout, but that's a pretty frivolous effort, so he's just going to move on. Now I think France is going to get the good treasure here, which is the 85 wood one, so that one could be substantial. As far as deck is concerned, it's called anything, because you can do anything with this deck. You can go H2, you can go H3, you can play CBDs with your regular army, or you can just go regular troopers. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Yeah. Alright, so Renegato should go down pretty quickly here and allow Explorer to get that. They will go up with the Quartermaster for 400 wood. Get them a nice barracks or two, which would be great. India. Oh, they're going for a 10 villager Kainamata. Yeah, so India, their villagers cost wood. So they got two choices. They can either go for a mix food and wood build order, where they go up to like 15 villagers in H1, or they can just say, you know what, I'm going to eat through all my wood and just go straight up 10 pop and just eat nothing but meat. And then get an age up with just 10 vills on hunts. And that's what they ended up doing here. And what they did that for was so they could get an early Kainamata. The Kainamata wonder, it builds your gather rate near the structure. So the building gives you a good aura of gather rate. And then you can hunt faster, you can mine faster, you can chop faster, farm faster. It's basically a huge gather rate booster building, which is great. And then whenever you age up as it gives you free wood crates, food crates, gold crates. So it gives you all 3 crates in an amount that depends on which age you're in. So gives you a nice recovery of resources too out of the gate that you can use. So at this point, because the India is gathering all wood, they can continue to queue villagers because, yeah, Indian villagers cost wood, you know, which is quite good. Alright, so another villager's out. Yep, and obviously the great thing about the Asian civs as well is they're the only culture that lets you train villagers while you're aging up, because their age up isn't at the town center, it's at a separate building. So you get to queue villagers and receive economy while you're aging up. So going for a 10 villager build order with India actually isn't the most risky to your economy, because they end up making it up anyways during the age up transition. Alright, so because you don't have an aggro fort, you do need to construct a barracks to get sepoys and Gurkhas and Rajputs. So barracks is required when you go Kainamata. Right, going for 700 wood now. Remember that all Indian cards come with a free villager too, so that's another way to catch up in economy when you go with these types of builds, is just send tons of cards and you will get free villagers to eventually override your opponent's Vil numbers. Alright, so start is going to be Sepoy, but we do see a market here, so probably going to see hunting eagles, some of the mining techs, some of the overall techs too. Now this is the big treasure here, and it looks like both explorers are here, so I wonder when this one's going to be contested. Looks like the French explorer already picked off one of the banded riders, but it is going to take a bit of work for somebody to grab this thing, so who gets it, I don't know. But it looks like the French at least has hussars ready to go, whereas the India is going to resupply with sepoys. Go right into the melee, scare off the hussars. Now can shoot off the explorer there. Probably take him out. If he can take out that explorer, this treasure is his. He gets this treasure now if he can take out that explorer. Right, and that can go right into probably diplomatic intrigue, sepoys, maybe foreign logging. It's going to go into gold, so he's going to get some coin now. Needs a substantial amount of coin, I think, to eventually set up AH3. Maybe get some more gold for Sepoy or Gurkha, especially since Gurks cost a lot of gold compared to Sepoys. Alright, so Hussars going for pressure. Thankfully the Vils are able to garrison properly and avoid death. Hussars are going to try to weave out around this mine area and get out of there before India can catch up. More Sepoys are queuing up. Very nice. The France going to ship in 700 coin and get some economy there. Very nice. Very, very good. Yeah. Alright, so now those Hussars are going down. Very good. Very, very good. And let's see. Okay, so France is gearing up for a semi-fast fortress, since they're getting ready to age up now. They just did an initial batch of Hussars to harass, and now they're ready for age 3 to get some big boy shipments in that age. The India is adding stable, it looks like. So they're probably going to add Sawars then. If they do run into cavalry trouble, they could also get Zambaraks in age 2. Okay, so the Vils, the animal, and so forth working together to take out those Hussars and save the base. Alright. So what now? Diplomatic intrigue, consulate is out. So, yeah, since it looks like he already got the Ottomans, now he's gonna probably be able to afford what I would assume to be the Delhis, the hand cav. Maybe he'll go for the free villagers, the free 4 villagers, maybe the Azaps. I don't know. He's got those 3 options. Right. So, as he's seen the Hussars, he's going to assume the hand cav is going to be a threat, so he is going to queue up some Zambaraks. There are essentially 1-pop dragoons that the Indians can do on top of a camel. And believe it or not, that weapon that they have is actually a culverin. So, you've seen culverins on the ground, right, as your counter artillery in this game? Well, the Zambaraks actually use a miniature culverin on top of the camel to actually, you know, counter cabin artillery. So it's kind of a funny thing there, yeah. So I believe India still gets this XP treasure to push them ahead, right? Zambaraks are out. Also, what does India end up doing with this consulate there? What is his choice? Is he going to get some hand cav? Or... Okay, so he goes for the free villagers, right? The 4 settler batch and the Azap batch, and then he cancels out the alliance. Because I believe he wants to go for British. So he can essentially acquire more HP for his troops. Yeah, he wants to get more HP for his soldiers. That's the main thing that he is going for there, basically. So, yeah, that should be pretty solid, I would think, to say the least. Yeah, get that extra stats on there. Oh, look, the France already has his skirms out, because he's been in Fortress Age for a while. He's also got his 5 dragoon shipment in play. He's also going to queue up more skirms, queue up more dragoons. Now he can... Oh, he queued those up. He didn't even train them, so he could still ship in 5 dragoons right now. Which I think right now, not a huge deal, since there's no hand cab on the field, but it's just going to be additional firepower that the France can throw in alongside the skirms at this point. Definitely make sure you got your Azaps on the ready to shoot those dragoons, since these guys have the good multipliers against these guys, so that's what you're probably going to want to use there. But the India, at the moment, not quite ready to age up at all, but they can queue in some Sawars. Unfortunately, the Sawar's in a bad position where the Dragoons are, so he has to sneak out, get to the skirms, hope that they don't get shredded. Okay, so the Sawars were somehow able to sneak past those Dragoons for a bit, and they are going to be able to get a ton of skirm kills, whereas the emergency sentries can cut into the Dragoons a bit and put them in check, and force a bit of micro on the Dragoon player. One more Sawar is left, and he's doing some good value damage there. Explorers are also going to do some damage on these guys as well. I think is quite good. Sepoy is forced to push off these French troops as much as possible, but unfortunately they're just Sepoys, so they're not going to do well versus a 20 range skirmisher with multipliers, so they're forced to retreat again. Oh wow, yep, got enough export there to get a batch of delis, and then he's going to cancel armaments. Then he's going to cancel because he wanted to cancel them earlier, but then I think he realized that he needs another batch of handcab just to survive here. He also shipped in 4 Sawars, so he's trying to sandwich in the handcab here to deal with the skirms. This connection is successful, whereas this one down here was mostly a failure, but they did get one scout at least. Unfortunately, the number of Dragoons is quite substantial now, so it's going to take a bit of luck here for these Sepoys and Azaps to eke out a win. More Sawars are queuing up right now from the India. Score-wise, it looks like things were in favor for France, who was able to maintain no pressure on their base, keeping up a steady stream of ills, queuing up more skirms and dragoons, which the wombo combo is pretty deadly, and then when you add the 2 falconet shipment, then they get a real lot of firepower then. But I think honestly at this stage it's safe to say that France is the winner. Yep, once you get a sizable mass skirmisher dragoon, and then you add a bit of artillery, especially if your opponent's an age behind, it's not looking great for them. It's actually quite bad. Yeah, and this is really the sweet spot for France, is their age 3. And they try to go for it as fast as they humanly can, typically. Because once they get those big age 3 cards in units, it's hard to fight them if you're an age behind. It's usually what they count on. And I think India played right into that, because I think India wanted to play a little greedy with the Karnamata. But what they probably should have done was go more the semi-fast fortress route with the Agrifort. That's what I would do against France, because I know France also wants to go to age 3, so I'll go to age 3 with them.